Malaysia welcomes South Korea's proposal to elevate ties to strategic partnership. National Agro-Food Policy 2.0 will boost modernization of agro-food business. Thanks for joining me, Renee Fong, on the evening edition of News on 2. Kuala Lumpur welcomes Seoul's proposal to elevate bilateral ties to strategic partnership to mark the 60th anniversary of their diplomatic relationship next year. The matters was touched during the Malaysia-South Korea bilateral meeting at the Presidential Blue House in Seoul. In the opening remarks at the bilateral meeting, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said the governments of both countries will discuss the details of the proposal, which will be in line with Malaysia's intention to tap into South Korea's strength in advanced technology and innovation. At the meeting, Tun Dr. Mahathir also voiced Malaysia's support for South Korea's initiative to establish International Peace Zone (IPZ) at the Demilitarized Zone (DMZ) between North Korea and South Korea. Meanwhile, his South Korean counterpart, President Moon Jae-in, said the two countries can expand cooperation in the form of joint response of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, as well as development of smart cities and the halal industry. The bilateral meeting was also attended by Foreign Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, Communications and Multimedia Minister Gobind Singh Dio, Water, Land and Natural Resources Minister Dr. Xavier Jayakumar, and Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad. Tun Dr. Mahathir ends his official visit to South Korea this evening after having attended the two-day ASEAN Republic of Korea commemorative summit in the port city of Busan earlier this week. The government will focus on preparing the National Agro-Food Policy 2.0 (NAP 2.0) that is aimed to develop the food industry in the country. The new policy will restructure all strategy evaluating current achievements to expedite the modernizing process other than managing the demand and supply of national food supply. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said NAP 2.0, which will be launched in 2021, will continue with the objectives of the current agro-food policy to ensure food security and increase contributions to the income of the target groups and national economy.
DAN 2.0 juga akan menambah baik aktiviti penyelidikan dan pembangunan R&D (Research and Development) bagi menghasilkan varieti baru yang tahan perubahan iklim dan mampu mengeluarkan hasil yang tinggi.
Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah said this when launching the National Farmers, Breeders and Fishermen's Day HPPNK 2019 at the Angsana Johor Bahru Mall in Johor Bahru, Johor. The Deputy Premier also said the development of the agro-food sector in the future must take into account the sustainability of natural resources and the environment as well as ensure that everyone gets sufficient food resources which are nutritious and affordable. She said the NAP 2.0 will implement various initiatives and set a new direction for 10 years, including developing agriculture input in all agro-food subsectors, making the country a major exporter of tropical food, and strengthening the expansion of services in line with the latest technology. The Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development regretted the actions of 28 opposition lawmakers who disagreed with the provision for the ministry during the Supply Bill 2020 at the committee stage. Its Deputy Minister, Hannah Yeoh, regarded them as betraying the trust of the electorate while denying the provisions which were meant for the welfare of the people.
Yang tidak bersetuju rantau panjang, Dungun, Sik, Padang Terap, Ketere, Kepala Batas, Macang, Jasin, Kota Tinggi, Parit, Jempol, Kuala Kangsar, Bera, Air Hitam, Tapah, Tanjung Karang, Parit Sulong, Lenggong, Kuala Krau, Pontian, Lipis, Baling, Gerik, Jerantut, Jelebu, Tenggara, Paya Besar, Cameron Highlands.
Speaking to the media at the Parliament lobby, Hannah said lack of quorum was not the issue, but it was the attitude of the opposition MPs who deliberately found a way to make sure the allocation announced on Budget 2020 was not approved. It was noted that on Tuesday, 32 MPs agreed, while another 28 disagreed with the provision allocated for the ministry during Budget 2020. The government has no intention to enact specific laws to deal with religious, racial hatred and anti-discrimination issues as proposed by the National Unity Consultative Council (NUCC). Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Muhammad Hanifah Maidin, said this was because Pakatan Harapan does not want to be labelled as a government that is keen on over-regulation. Muhammad Hanifah told the Dewan Rakyat today that the Cabinet on 30th January agreed that all the proposed drafts by the NUCC must be reviewed with existing laws strengthened under the Penal Code. However, he said the government was prepared to consider the establishment of the National Harmony and Reconciliation Commission.
Sebuah jawatankuasa teknikal yang dianggotai oleh wakil-wakil kementerian dan agensi kerajaan berkaitan telah ditubuhkan untuk meneliti dan memperhalusi cadangan perubahan sejaya keharmonian dan rekonsiliasi nasional sama ada cadangan tersebut mempunyai pertindihan dengan peruntukan undang-undang sedia ada.
Asked if there was any time frame for the establishment of the commission, Muhammad Hanifah said the government was in the process of consulting all stakeholders. The government will try to claim back the money paid for 6 undelivered US-made MD-530G Light Scout attack helicopters if it decides to cancel its procurement. Defence Minister Muhammad Sabu told the Dewan Rakyat today that the government would make the final decision. Muhammad Sabu said if the government decided to proceed, the ministry would order the company to provide all the equipment for the helicopters and fulfill all other contract obligations.
Menteri akan membuat keputusan sebelum seminggu dua inilah bila kertas kepada kabinet dibawa, iaitu untuk menentukan misalnya kedudukan perolehan helikopter McDonnell Douglas yang kita telah membayar 112 juta 35% dan perjanjian itu selama 2 tahun, iaitu November 2015 hingga 24 November 2017. Oleh kerana ianya belum lagi dapat dibawa helikopter itu, maka Jemaah Menteri akan membuat keputusan pada seminggu dua ini bila kertas dah siap dibawa Jemaah Menteri untuk membuat keputusan terakhir.
The minister added that the cabinet would also decide on the action to be taken against those involved in the purchase of the helicopters once it has decided whether or not to cancel the purchase. The 300 million ringgit deal was made during the previous Barisan Nasional government. MD Helicopters Inc. of US aerospace giant McDonnell Douglas Corps in November 2015. The company had been paid 35% of the contract value worth about 112 million ringgit, but the helicopters have not been delivered to this day. This led the ministry to lodge a report with the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission in June this year, saying the procurement exercise was not done according to procedure. Also touched in today's Dewan Rakyat sitting was on the mandatory installation of the Child Restraint System CRS in vehicles. Taking into consideration of families with many children, Deputy Transport Minister Datuk Kamaruddin Jaafar informed the Dewan that the ministry mulls CRS exemption to those big families depending on the capacity or space available in their vehicles.
Khusus untuk keluarga yang besar, saya boleh laporkan bahawa yang melibatkan keluarga yang besar akan diberikan pengecualian sekiranya di dalam sebuah kenderaan tersebut tidak membolehkan CRS dipasang dalam bilangan yang sama dengan ramainya anak-anak kita. Jadi kelonggaran akan diberikan dalam pelaksanaan ini memandangkan bahawa apa yang rasa amat bimbang itu juga dalam pertimbangan kementerian.
He noted that the ministry will adopt approaches like educating and giving advices, and there will not be any stern action or summonses issued, especially for those with big families. The Dewan was also told that of the 7,000 deaths recorded due to accidents, about 15% was involving children. The government had initially made it a mandatory to use the child safety seats in vehicles starting 1st January 2020. Datuk Kamarudin added that his ministry was also ready to consider the proposal to extend the enforcement of CRS usage in public transport. However, he said the ministry will think of ways to install it in stages after studying the effectiveness of the installation in private vehicles. The Court of Appeal today dismissed with COSC's former Chief Minister Tan Sri Musa Aman's appeal against the dismissal of his suit challenging Datuk Sri Muhammad Shafie Apdal's appointment as Sabah Chief Minister. The three-member bench comprising Justices Datuk Kamardin Hashim, Datuk Rozaria Bujang and Datuk Muhammad Zabidin Muhammad Diah allowed the respondent's preliminary objection to strike out the appeal. Datuk Kamarudin read out the decision by the three judges and ordered Tan Sri Musa to pay 20,000 ringgit to the first respondent, Sabah Head of State Tun Juhar Mahiruddin, and 50,000 ringgit to Datuk Sri Muhammad Shafie, the second respondent. Datuk Sri Musa was represented by Tengku Fuad Tengku Ahmad, Datuk Anandam Kasinadar and S. Vanugopal, while Tun Juhar and Datuk Sri Muhammad Shafie were represented by Sabah Attorney General Datuk Zaleha Rose Pandin and Datuk Douglas Lind, respectively. Meanwhile, when speaking to media after the verdict, Tengku Fuad expressed disappointment on the decision and added that they would take the appeal at a higher level as soon as possible. Datuk Lind, meanwhile, said he had no doubt about winning in objecting to the appeal, saying Tun Juhar and Datuk Sri Muhammad Shafie had a very strong case. Kuala Kangsar Sessions Court in Perak today fixed 12 December this year for mention of the cases of technician S. Arivandan and taxi driver V. Balamurugan on charges of supporting terrorist group Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam LTTE. Judge Rohaida Ishak set the date while waiting for reports from the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission MCMC and terrorism experts. On 29th October this year, Arivandan, 27, and Balamurugan, 37, were charged with supporting LTTE since 2014. At today's mention, Deputy Public Prosecutor Hasuyanti Khalil asked the court for 1.5 months to complete the investigations, as the prosecution has yet to receive reports from MCMC and forensic experts. However, the request was objected by lawyer Matthews Jude, who was representing both accused, asking for mention to be fixed for next week. This follows the Kuala Lumpur High Court's decision to fix tomorrow for a decision on whether to allow the bail application of Gadek State Assemblyman from Malacca, G. Saminathan, 34, who has been detained under the Security Offences Special Measures Act 2012 SOSMA for his alleged involvement with LTTE. Arivandan and Balamurugan were believed to have supported LTTE at a ceremony at Kuala Kangsar Municipal Council Hall, Sungai Siput Utara branch between 6:30 p.m. and 11:45 p.m. on 28th December 2014. Up next, issuance of second Samurai bond to be finalised in first quarter of next year. Welcome back. A rest area will be provided for members of Parliament MPs to ensure they get enough rest throughout the Dewan Rakyat sitting. The special room will be ready after the additional building, which is under construction now, is completed in March next year.
Saya telah pun dimaklumkan mengenai bangunan tambahan di belakang Dewan Yang Mulia ini akan siap sedia pada bulan Mac yang akan datang. Jadi saya akan jemput semua ahli parlimen mungkin pada masa minggu depan untuk kita semua beramai-ramai pergi ke situ untuk melihat kemudahan yang sedia ada pada kita.
Sandakan MP Datuk Liew Vui Keong said the room will be equipped, among others, with internet facilities. Besides that, a special room will also be given to the opposition leader. He was replying to Pontian MP Datuk Sri Ahmad Maslan's query about the completion date of the additional building and the facilities which will be made available, especially to overcome fatigue, which was said to be among the factors causing poor MP's attendance. The government is expected to conclude talks on the second Samurai bond in the first quarter of next year. Speaking to reporters after officiating the Malaysian Bond and Sukuk Conference 2019 in Kuala Lumpur today, Deputy Finance Minister Datuk Amiruddin Hamzah said the government is trying to get the best rate, which it hopes will be much lower from the first Samurai bond.
If you want to get something, especially Samurai bond is in yen. Of course, it will be subject to fluctuation of currency dan sebagainya. So the lower you can bring down the rate, so it will be so much better for us.
Earlier in his speech, Dato' Amiruddin said Malaysia has remained as the main driver for the sukuk market while continuing to lead in the Islamic wealth management industry. According to him, corporate bonds showed a stabilizing pattern with the total hovering between 85 billion and 125 billion ringgit in the last 5 years at an average of 99 billion ringgit annually. He said government sukuk had also been maintained between 45 and 64 billion ringgit. Dato' Amiruddin further noted that for years, sukuk had experienced high demand from Islamic investors as well as from conventional investors in various major markets. The Cardiac Vascular Central Kuala Lumpur CVSKL is confident of receiving a higher number of patients from abroad in conjunction with the Healthcare Tourism Year 2020. Its chairman, Tan Sri Dr. Yahya Awang, said as of now, 9% of the integrated hospital's patients are foreigners, while the figure is expected to increase to 15% next year. He also estimated that most of them will be from Indonesia, while the rest will be from several other countries.
Saya harap kita akan menjadi sebuah hospital yang memberi rawatan kepada semua bangsa daripada Indonesia dan lagi pada Bangladesh dan juga di Singapura dan Filipina dengan Vietnam.
He said this after CVSKL's second anniversary celebration and the awarding of a certificate of accreditation from the Malaysian Society for Quality in Health, MSQH, in Kuala Lumpur. Meanwhile, MSQH's Chief Executive Officer, Associate Professor Dr. Kadar Marikar, hopes more hospitals and healthcare centres in the country will obtain international accreditation certificates.
We hope that all Malaysian hospitals that promote medical tourism will also come forward to get themselves to comply to the standards so that they can be recognized as a medical tourism hub for Malaysian healthcare facilities and services in the country.
To promote the country as an attractive healthcare tourism destination, MSQH has also partnered with an international accreditation body in Florida, USA. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah was today conferred the darjah kerabat diraja yang amat dihormati Perak DK by the Sultan of Perak, Sultan Nazrin Shah, in a ceremony held at the Dewan Seri Maharaja Istana Negara. At the same ceremony, Al-Sultan Abdullah was also bestowed the Darjah Kerabat Sri Indra Mahkota Pahang yang amat dihormati DK on Sultan Nazrin. Raja Pemaisuri Agong Tunku Haja Aziza Aminah Maimunah Iskandariah Almarhum Sultan Iskandar and Raja Pemaisuri of Perak Tuanku Zahra Salim were in attendance. The event was also attended by Tengku Arif Temenggong Pahang Tengku Faad Muazzam Sultan Ahmad Shah and Tengku Panglima Raja Pahang Tengku Amir Nasir. Also present were Pahang Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Wan Rosdi Wan Ismail and Perak Menteri Besar Datuk Faizal Azumu. Coming up in sports, Lionel Messi steals the show in his 700th Barcelona appearance. National football midfielder Muhammad Irfan Zakaria just wants to focus on realizing his mission of winning the SEA Games gold medal for the time being. The 24-year-old, who is sought after by some teams from the Malaysian League M-League for the 2020 season, has confirmed that he does not want to make hasty decisions during the SEA Games campaign. Irfan, who played for Kuala Lumpur in 2016 to help the City Boys move to the Super League after winning the Premier League in 2017, has yet to make a decision on his future after the team was relegated to the second division.
Masa sekarang ada beberapa pasukan, tapi macam saya cakap, saya fokus pada SEA Games dan balik Malaysia. Saya akan buat keputusan dengan betul.
Muhammad Irfan, along with Adam Nur Azlin, 23, were two of the older players in the under-22 squad for the Sea Sports campaign, where the team tied 1-1 against Myanmar in the Group A opener on Monday. And that concludes this evening's News on 2. In our top story, Malaysia welcomes South Korea's proposal to elevate ties to strategic partnership. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for more updates. I'm Renee Fong. Have a pleasant evening.